Well, hello everyone, and welcome. My name is Cooper Naylor, and so today we are going to be picking the college football playoff bracket for this season, and so I'm real excited. So, um, you know, we are going to get into this in just a moment. So, let me hit the transition button, and I've already made two picks. So here you go. Here are my first two picks. I've got Oregon beating James Madison. I mean, I think this is just one of those games where I don't think anybody's really going to disagree with me too much on this one. Um, it's just one of those games where Oregon's just a much better team. That one, I don't think it's really too much to explain there. Alabama and Oklahoma, on the other hand, my reasoning for having Alabama beating Oklahoma, it's really hard to beat somebody twice in a season. And so, with all that being said, I like Alabama to win this football game because I think Alabama's going to get their offensive line healthy, having had a week off, and I just think that Oklahoma, I feel like when it comes to struggling worse on defense or on offense, I think Alabama will be able to score just a little bit more than what Oklahoma can. Because Oklahoma's offense didn't play too good against Alabama. If we go back and watch that game, um, it's the defense that really created the opportunities for Oklahoma to score. If Alabama can hold on to the football and not turn it over, I think Alabama has a really good shot at winning this football game and going to the Rose Bowl. All right, bottom half of the bracket, I gotta go Ole Miss. I just I don't see Tulane really having much of a shot in this game. If we're gonna be honest, Ole Miss already beat them 45-10 this season. It will be different if Tulane can find some way to hold Ole Miss in check with their offense, and maybe with the whole Lane Kiffin situation that it will be something crazy going on. But I just don't foresee that. I'm not going to predict that. So I just see Ole Miss going to the Sugar Bowl for a rematch against Georgia. And then Miami and Texas A&M. This is, in my opinion, the best game of the first round because Miami, when they're on and playing at the top of their level, they're actually one of the best teams in college football. And that it's one of those where, you know, the games they lost, Carson Beck played terrible. So that's going to be the big key here. How does Carson Beck play against this Texas A&M team? Whereas Texas A&M, I think it's kind of similar situation. If Marcel Reed plays clean and doesn't turn the ball over, then I think Texas A&M has a really good shot at winning this football game. However, just in my opinion, I just feel like Texas A&M is going to find some way to blow this game. So give me Miami to win this game and go to the Cotton Bowl to play Ohio State. All right, so we got Oregon against Texas Tech. You got Alabama and Indiana. You got Ole Miss and Georgia, and then Miami and Ohio State in our quarterfinal round. Let's start with the Orange Bowl, Texas Tech and Oregon. This is an interesting football game, if we're going to be honest, because you got a Texas Tech team who, coming into the season, we thought it was going to be offense that was going to lead them, and we didn't foresee that they would have such a great defense. Oregon, a team with a really good offense and some good players on defense. This is really, for both of these teams, I feel like this is their first time playing an opponent this season that's got this caliber of a team that could really win a championship. Um, Personally speaking, I think it's going to be a really close game, but I feel like I just feel like in the end, what I saw from Texas Tech last week, I was really, or 2 weeks ago, in the Big 12 championship, I was impressed with Texas Tech. I thought they played a really good football game, and so for that, I think Texas Tech will get to the semifinal and play in the Peach Bowl. And who will they play? I think that it's going to be a really good game in the Rose Bowl. Alabama, I feel like they are going to really give Indiana a taste of, well, Indiana, you've never been in the playoffs before. Alabama has. Although for Alabama, it's a lot of new pieces is coming to the playoff that's not really been here before. Indiana, same thing. Both teams are not really experienced being in the college football playoff. So this is going to be a really fun matchup between Indiana and Alabama. But at the end of the day, it's going to be if you watched last year's playoff, you saw that it wasn't necessarily the team we thought was the best going into it. It was the team that got hot in the playoffs. Ohio State, they definitely had all the talent. They should have won it. To be honestly, to have 10-2 regular season really just says how much Ohio State really blew some of their, blew it in the regular season. Um, but I think Alabama wins this football game, and I think you're going to see in the Peach Bowl Texas Tech and Alabama, which would be a crazy matchup to watch. And then you go to the bottom half of the bracket. You got Ole Miss and Georgia. Honestly, this is not really a tough choice for me. I think Georgia wins the game. By far, I think Georgia's probably one of the best teams left, would be left in the bracket at this point. Um, they just they're incredible. Defense has really started to look really good. They shut down Alabama, and in the SEC championship game, they shut down Georgia Tech, whose offense has been pretty good all season. So Georgia, I think they beat Ole Miss pretty easily, honestly. And so give me Georgia. And then who will play Georgia? Honestly, I gotta go with Miami. I just feel like, first off, could you imagine Fiesta Bowl, Georgia, Miami, Carson Beck playing against his former team? I mean, the storyline would be crazy at that. And plus, I think that Ohio State in that Indiana game showed some flaws. They're not, they can be prolific on offense, but they're not. If you have a good enough defense, you can slow them down. And I think Miami's got a good enough defense to do what Indiana did, which is slow them down. And so I got Miami beating Ohio State. Now, first semifinal, Alabama, Texas Tech. I think it's going to be a fun matchup. It's going to be a defensive game because both offenses have struggled throughout the season. But honestly, at the end of the day, I think Alabama finds a way to get to the national championship game. And so give me Alabama. So I just think they're going to get hot here at the end, here in the playoffs. And I really trust Kalen DeBoer. You know, I think he's a really good coach. And so give me Alabama. And then Georgia and Miami. This is going to be the better of the two semifinal games. This one I think is going to come down to the very end of it. It could be a field goal that wins the game. And I think it's going to be Georgia getting the win. I think Carson Beck just doesn't have enough to beat his former squad. And for the national championship this season, you got Alabama and Georgia once again in what is, how many times have they played? This will be the third time in 9 years. Third time in 9 years that these two play for the national championship. Honestly, again, I think it's whoever gets hot at the very end of the season. And again, these two have shown that they can have some really good matchups. Of course, first game of the year was a really good matchup there in Athens. Second one, the SEC Championship game, was not so good. I feel like Alabama's just going to have a fire lit under them. I think Alabama, in the end, they win the national championship this season. So give me Alabama to win it all. And I think when you think of how many points will be scored in this game, it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think that a total of 35 points will be scored in this game. So Alabama wins the national championship over Georgia this season. That is my pick. And so, folks, that is my bracket for this season. comment below what you think about it, and we'll see you again later.